Hello. Before we start today's episode, if you would like a condensed version of what I'm talking about in this podcast, go ahead and subscribe to the Perfectionist Guide. You can read the entire thing in 3 minutes or less. To access this, go to courtneylovegavin.com/newsletter. Are you a bit of a perfectionist, type A, hyper performer? Then you know that having the audacity to see an ideal and bring it into reality while breaking generational habits of hustle can be tough, but it doesn't have to be. If you are ready to burn bright instead of burning out, to lead without losing yourself, and to enjoy the life you have worked so hard to create, then keep listening. I'm your host, America's leader on rewiring perfectionism, CLG, and this is Perfectionism Rewired, the podcast. Welcome to Perfectionism Rewired. Today, we are continuing our discussion on holiday perfectionism. If you haven't listened to our last episode called Holiday Perfectionism, I would recommend to listen to it. The holidays tends to be an extremely stressful season for perfectionists. I'm talking about this now because we want to strike and sharpen when the iron is cold. Striking while the iron is cold is a principle from nonviolent communication. When you have a conflict in your life, the person is going to be much more receptive, accepting, and open to actually being able to implement solving a problem when they're not in a heightened state. For my clients, what I'll do when they are having positive momentum and traction, I will use that as a point. They don't know this, but now you do. I'm giving away my secrets here, clients, from the Perfectionism Rewired Accelerator and Perfectionism Optimized. What I'll do is I will then reflect back to them the contrast in their previous behaviors. It would be like they saw a mess in the dishes and they didn't make it mean anything about themselves and they were able to go out to dinner as planned. We'd celebrate that and then talk about how, isn't that incredible? You're no longer using how clean your house is to define your self-worth. Remember like last week, and you get what I'm saying? So we want to strike while the iron is cold. And that's why I'm bringing this up with you now, because when you're in the thick of the holiday overwhelm and anxiety, and maybe you end up getting burned out, any sort of help that you could get during that time is going to be triage. It's just going to be bringing you back to your baseline that you're at right now. By you deciding now, I'm going to set myself up for a satisfying holiday season. I'm like committed to rewiring my perfectionism, making my perfectionism work for me. When you do this now, you're setting yourself up so that you raise your current baseline. Because your current baseline goes up, you have more stamina for the holiday season. You get to raise the baseline that you have in your core pillars, your presence, your person, your peace, and your prosperity. That's all going to go up. And we want to sharpen while the iron is cold, which means when you're going to be so much more receptive and you're going to be able to see things so much clearly. Strike while the iron is cold, sharpen while the iron is cold. We want to train ahead of time. When it comes to your person, your inner peace, your prosperity, and your presence, like holistically who you are, it needs to be trained. And not trained like discipline, but like training like an athlete. I would be doing the equivalent of going into the holiday season, going into like stress central. As I say this, I'm not saying this to like be foreboding, or for those of you that are really into positive visualizations, you're saying that it's stressy, so it's going to be stressy. No. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is that the holidays, there's traveling, there's gifts. For some of us, it can be very uncomfortable for us to open presents in front of other people. So if that's you, make sure to subscribe because that's an upcoming episode of the podcast. There's gift giving. You're hosting people in your home. You're going to a lot of parties. Your schedule can tend to swell. There's end of year. It can also be a time for those of us that have lost someone in our life, that there's a lot of grief that comes up during the holidays. It can also be a time where for those of us that are people pleasers, that were really put to the test because we're back with our family of origin. It's like, okay, how am I going to choose to handle this situation? What if they get upset with me? I'm not like one of those like doom holiday people, which I think you know. But if this is your first episode listening, I am not trying to predict or to seed in your subconscious that the holidays are stressful, the holidays are stressful. I'm just saying that like science, data, if there's ever a time, like if we're going to put money on something, it's this time of year. And when your perfectionism has not been optimized, you don't know how to work with it, it hasn't been rewired, what you're doing, it's the equivalent of like, okay, I'm going to run a marathon and I haven't trained at all. You're going to get injured. You might not finish it. And it's going to be a miserable experience for you. You don't need to fight against yourself. And actually, like perfectionists, when they're optimized and rewired, are like honestly the best people to be around for the holidays. If you want your holiday season to have more peace and serenity, or maybe you're like, yeah, bitch, I want to train. Let's go. Let's go. If you're picking up what I'm throwing down, when you want a revolutionary approach to rewire your perfectionism and your perfectionistic tendencies, then head to CourtneyLoveGavin.com. I have the accelerator that is a 6-week really great introduction to this work and what perfectionism coaching is. And then for those of you that are like, I'm in it to win it, I want to train, I'm here for it, I offer Perfectionism Optimized, which is a 16-week program we do together. Most of you will do the accelerator and then you'll want to continue and then you'll go into Perfectionism Optimized, but this is not a class. There is no prerequisite at all. And the reason why I do this podcast is because I know that not everyone has the resources to work with me privately. I want you to still be able to not have the holiday season be stressy. There are more holiday perfectionism episodes going your way. The question for today is look at those 4 core pillars: your person, your presence, your peace, and your prosperity. Draw down on a piece of paper and then ask yourself, where is my biggest opportunity to strike and sharpen? Maybe it's all 4. Maybe there's one that's like really glaring, like your health or your body. Because one of the really cool things when you work with me and play the perfectionist game is that we work on all 4 key pillars at the same time. So it's not like one area gets super developed and the other ones go to shit. Because what I have learned in doing this for almost 20 years is that we need all 4. In order for neurogenesis to happen, that's a huge part of neuroplasticity. You need to be moving your body. Like your lymphatic system needs to be moving. You also need to be in relationship with other people, especially as perfectionists, to feel that we are learning and growing and to have that sort of success. And we also need to be able to calm ourselves and have a nervous system that has a nice, cushy window of tolerance. Enjoy and go to CourtneyLoveGavin.com and join the accelerator.